My 31F best friend, 32F, is telling me that my boyfriend, 34M, cheated with her, but he says that she's lying. How do I get to the truth and then salvage whichever one of these relationships is worth saving? I've been best friends with Becca since 2010, we were college roommates, and then after we graduated we still lived together up until I moved in with my boyfriend, Nate, in 2019. One thing about Becca is that she's always had a drinking problem for as long as I've known her, and she's done stuff while drunk that has sometimes caused problems in our friendship. She does try to stay sober, but every few years something will happen to make her start drinking again, which is what happened earlier this summer. So last Saturday Becca called me because she was drunk somewhere and needed a ride home. I couldn't go pick her up because I had the flu and I was on cold medicine, so Nate went to get her instead. A couple of days after that I started noticing that Nate was being weird with his phone. Normally he leaves it out on the coffee table if we're watching TV or whatever, but he started putting it face down so I couldn't see what notifications he was getting. My first thought was that he was trying to plan a surprise, and because of the timing I thought that maybe Becca was helping him. Yesterday I saw Becca. I told her that Nate was being sneaky all of a sudden and asked her if he said anything about maybe proposing soon. She asked me if I looked through his phone and I said no. Becca started crying and told me that she and Nate hooked up in his car the night that he came to pick her up. Her excuse was that she was really drunk and didn't fully know what she was doing. She said she'd been texting him since, telling him that he needed to tell me what happened or else she was going to. I asked Becca to show me the texts, but they were all in the app Signal, which deletes messages after a day, so all I could see was that she and Nate had a chat thread but nothing that they said. I told her to text Nate in front of me so I could see what he said, and she did, but we got no read receipt and so no response at all, so it didn't prove anything. I asked Becca if she was sure she wasn't so drunk that she maybe imagined it or thought a dream was real, and she absolutely lost her shit on me and said that she knows that she's horrible when she drinks, but that she's not fucking delusional and she doesn't make shit up. She said that I could believe her or not and it's my choice, but she was telling me the truth. I said I needed to go home and talk to Nate. So when I got home I confronted Nate with what Becca had said, and he acted shocked and denied that anything like that had happened at all and said he didn't know why she'd think so or say so. He said that he had just given Becca a ride home and the only thing that happened was that they talked about how he and I had been together for a long time and how we should get married already. He admitted they were talking on Signal the next couple of days, but he said that it was about exactly what I thought, that he was asking her about engagement rings and what kind of proposal I would want. Nate replied to Becca's message from before asking her if she made up a story about them hooking up to not ruin the surprise about his proposal, and she texted him back that there was no proposal and to stop playing dumb. So then Nate called her pretending like I wasn't in the room and told her that she needed to stop whatever she was trying to do because we were on the verge of breaking up and he'd rather just have the surprise be ruined, but Becca just kept telling Nate to stop lying until he got angry and hung up on her. I really didn't know what to think and I still don't. Right now Nate is really upset and not really talking to me much. He says that it's bad enough that Becca acted insane and ruined his plan to propose, but it's even worse that I believed her lies even a little and would think that he would ever cheat on me. Becca texted me saying she was sorry, but otherwise I haven't talked to her either. I don't want to think that Nate would cheat on me or that he'd take advantage of Becca if she was that drunk, but I feel like I can't be 100% sure because I've known Becca for 13 years and I also just can't believe that she'd lie to me about something this important. And I know that she does have a drinking problem, so I can believe that she'd sleep with my boyfriend if she was drunk out of her head. She's done some pretty awful things in the past when she's been drunk. I don't want to wrongly accuse Nate of something he didn't do, but I don't want to be an idiot. Comments. Commenter 1. Is there any proof of his proposal? Google search, phone calls to jewelers, etc. Wow, this is a tough situation. It reminds me of a post about a girl that broke up with her BF cause her friends told her he cheated on her, only to find out they lied to her years later. Damn, is there a dashcam in your car? Commenter 2. In all my experience in living, I was even in the situation where I saw a cheater. So let me tell you this, does your gut say to believe her? Like you don't want to believe your BF could have done this but you also feel he could have? Let me explain to you. I once saw my brother's GF at the time making out with some other guy in the club, so I tell him. He gets upset with me saying I'm lying and I just wanted to hurt him. He doesn't believe me. I have no proof, no photos or anything, just my emotions of rage and wanting my brother to know his GF is a cheater. So he stays with her for a while until a girl comes along that starts to like him. She is friends with his GF. She catches the GF also cheating on my brother. She tells my brother. My brother believes her. I think we want to only believe those we feel like can do us no harm. The feelings of love muddled his truth. I don't know what my gut says. It both says that Nate wouldn't do this and that Becca wouldn't lie about it, but obviously both of those things can't be true. Commenter 3. Honestly, I'd get rid of Becca. She has a history of causing problems. And regardless of which is the truth, she's an asshole. She either fucked your boyfriend or lied about it in an attempt to break you up. Both are friendship ending in my book. I think you're right. In the past I've forgiven her because I've tried to be sympathetic to the fact that you can't control alcoholism, but I can't keep doing this. Commenter 4. What else has Becca done to you while drunk? I feel like more past context is needed. Does she normally black out? Forget things? Misread situations? Has she hooked up with a past partner? Hit on guys you like? Please provide more background. The fact that they're using Signal to communicate definitely makes me think it's something sketchy and not some innocent thing. I am 60% believing her, but please provide additional details. So in the past when she's been drunk, Becca's blacked out and started fights with me or other people. She'll say really out of line insulting things. She's kicked people out of our apartment because she didn't remember inviting them in. She's accused me of stealing clothes from her because I was wearing an outfit that looked like something that she also owned, that kind of thing. She's never hooked up with anyone that I was dating, but she's definitely hooked up with guys that she knew I was interested in. Commenter 5. Wow, that's tough. I'm sorry you're in this situation because she seems like a totally unreliable narrator, but also your BF doesn't seem like he's acting that trustworthy either. What's your gut feeling? I don't know. I really don't think that Nate would cheat, but I just can't imagine that Becca would completely make this up. Both of their stories somewhat make sense to me, but I don't know. I don't know why Becca would be saying this if it wasn't true, but I'm afraid of deciding I definitely believe her and then having her later realize she forgot she hooked up with somebody else that night or something. Commenter 6. My question is, why was he sneaky only after that night? If he's telling the truth, it's because it's only after that night that he started planning a proposal. Commenter 7. But why would he start planning the proposal while she is that drunk after that particular night? Do you think it's because he is using that to cover up what he did? Also, have you noticed anything that made you think, from your BF toward Becca? Does Becca come across as envious of you and BF relationship? How long was he gone picking her up and dropping her off? Did he get right in the shower? Was he overly affectionate or extremely distant? From what he said, he didn't start planning the proposal that night. It was that Becca mentioned that we should get married already because it's been 7 years and he thought about it, and then the next day he sent her a message to ask her what kind of ring I would want. I've never noticed anything weird from Nate towards Becca. If anything, he doesn't like her very much. I don't know if envious is the right word, but in the past Becca didn't like me and Nate being together because she felt like I was abandoning her for him. I'm not sure how long he was gone. I fell asleep when he was gone and he didn't wake me up when he got back. But I know he didn't shower when he got home because that definitely would have woken me up. Commenter 8. Okay, wait, she has a history of doing awful things while drunk and a history of resenting your BF for fear of you abandoning her for him? By the way, jealousy is the right word. Envy is wanting what others have and jealousy is fear of losing something to another person. He didn't shower when he got home and he's never liked Becca that much. Honestly, it sounds like your BF is both more trustworthy and has less reason to lie. Update. So on Thursday night, after I got everyone's advice, I told Nate that I had found out a way to recover deleted messages from Signal. He immediately took out his phone and opened the app and asked me to show him how to do it, so I already thought that must mean he was telling me the truth because he didn't panic or hesitate at all. Which was good because when I tried to download Signal on my old phone, it turned out that it's too old to support the current version of the app, so it wouldn't work. Nate then asked me if we were going to have to go out and buy a new phone for me to believe that he was telling me the truth, and he said that he was willing to do it if that's what it would take. I told Nate it wasn't that I didn't believe him, I just wanted to have some proof because I just couldn't understand why Becca would lie about it. Nate said that she would lie about it because she's a fucking crazy drunk bitch and there's literally no way for a non-crazy person to understand why she would do anything, and once the messages prove that he didn't ever want me talking to her again. Then he said to get up because if we were going to go to the Verizon store we had to get there before it closed. By then I completely believed Nate anyway, so I told him we didn't have to go anywhere or get a new phone and that I believed him and I knew he didn't cheat on me and that he would never do that. Nate said that he would hope I know that and that he didn't understand why I didn't take his word for it in the first place. I started trying to explain why I didn't want to just immediately dismiss what Becca had said happened, but Nate said that he really couldn't listen to that right now. I said that was fair and agreed that I would cut Becca off, but that first I wanted to try to get her to admit that nothing happened. Nate said fine, but to call her with my phone on speaker because he thought he also deserved to hear her admit that she was lying. So I called Becca and I said the same thing to her that I said to Nate, that I figured out how to recover deleted messages on Signal. She asked me why I would need to do that, so that was when I knew for sure that she was definitely making it up and not just confused somehow. I said it was because I wanted to have proof of what she and Nate talked about. Becca asked me if I saw their messages, so I lied and said yes. After that Becca just went silent until finally I asked her if she was going to say anything. Then she asked me if that meant that we were engaged now. So then I really just lost it on her and screamed at her asking her if she was fucking serious and what the fuck was wrong with her and how could that possibly be all that she had to say. Becca started screaming back telling me to fucking calm down and about how obviously I never believed her anyway because it's not like we broke up over it. I was crying by that point and because of that I couldn't really say anything else, so then Nate told Becca to go fuck herself and to never ever contact either one of us ever again and hung up on her. A minute later Becca sent me a completely unhinged text that I'm quoting here verbatim, apart from changed names. Courtney, you are supposed to be my friend for life. You are supposed to be there for me. You are supposed to be my person. But then you meet Nate and now you only care about Nate. Everything is about Nate. Tell me why Nate comes to pick me up when I call you. I called you, not your precious fucking Nate. I only want you to see how fucked up this is, but do you? No. Of course you don't. Of course you choose Nate over me like you always do and like you always will. You pretend to care about me, but I can see you don't care. It is pathetic, Courtney. You are a pathetic woman who would choose a man over a friend. But since you can't say it yourself, I will. Since you have to have your sweet perfect little baby Nate do it for you, I will. Goodbye, Courtney. Is that what you want? Goodbye forever. I hope you fucking got what you fucking want. There were the 3 dots after that showing she was still typing more, but I blocked her before she sent it. I don't care about anything else that she has to say. I'm sure it's all just going to be more bullshit about why this is my fault or justifications about why what she did wasn't that bad and I should forgive her. I know Nate is probably right and there's no non-crazy logic behind why Becca would stoop to doing something like this, but obviously I've still been thinking about it and my best guess is that whoever said that Becca still blames me and Nate, apparently mostly Nate, for her being a drunk mess who can't get her life together is right. It seems like she somehow thought that if she said she hooked up with Nate, I'd break up with him but still want to be friends with her and then everything would magically be fixed. As far as stuff with Nate, I asked him if he thought he could ever forgive me for doubting him and he said that since I came to my senses and I cut Becca off he guesses we can try to put it behind us. I don't think he's still going to propose anytime soon. After this I probably wouldn't if I was him. And from what Nate said he didn't actually do any planning yet other than asking Becca about rings and if I'd think a public proposal was tacky or not. All he was doing so far was trying to get ideas without me knowing he was talking to her about it. So just based on that I think probably it's not going to happen for a while if it still does at all. Also thanks to everyone for the advice and support. I know I didn't respond to many comments but I really did appreciate everyone who cared enough to want to help. Comments. Commenter 1. Wow, this is a perfect example of how drugs and alcohol affect behavior and logical thinking. GF thought admitting to sleeping with your serious BF would result in a positive/win for her. Sorry this is going to delay your future with Nate but hopefully with a bit of time behind you, everything will be back on course. Maybe invest in some security devices like cameras and a rape alarm in case Becca approaches. I'm guessing you haven't seen the last of her. I'm sure she won't just go away. I'm already expecting her to try to get our other friends to get in the middle of everything as soon as she figures out she's actually blocked and I'm not just ignoring her. I hope she won't try to do anything else but I guess at this point I really can't know with her. I'm hoping things are okay with Nate. I think in a while they will be. Commenter 2. I would get out ahead of that. Message your mutual friends and explain the basics of what happened. Tell them you're not asking them to take sides or cut her off, but you expect that she will try to get to you through them and you're asking them to respect your decision to end that friendship. I have something like that drafted. I just know that once I send it everyone is going to want to talk to me about it and I'm just not looking forward to it. I'll do it pretty soon though. Second update. I haven't logged into this account for about a year, but I got a few messages asking for an update so here it is. I'll keep it as short as I can. Unfortunately, I have nothing good to report. It turned out that whatever was going on with Becca that caused her to make false accusations about Nate was the beginning of some kind of a psychotic break. After I blocked her she made a whole bunch of fake accounts and started sending me completely unhinged shit about how I ruined her life and threatening to get revenge on me and Nate. This went on for literally months with her sending me dozens of messages a day. I found out from other friends that she was making multiple posts on Facebook every day that were semi-coherent rants about how much she hated me and how I was evil and ruined her life intentionally. I tried to talk to the police 2 different times to get a restraining order because I was afraid that Becca was going to show up at our apartment and attack me or Nate. I literally even got a front door camera because I was so scared that she was going to hurt us. The police said that because Becca wasn't threatening actual violence she was just a nuisance and they couldn't do anything. They acted like I was an idiot because it isn't illegal to talk shit on Facebook and they basically told me to just keep blocking her whenever she made a new account and eventually she'd get bored and move on. Then finally there was an incident where someone broke the windshield of Nate's car while he was parked at his work. I guess it could have just been a random act of vandalism because his wasn't the only car that got windows broken, but at the time I was 100% sure it was Becca so I went to the police again. Eventually an officer went to talk to Becca, and she said she didn't touch Nate's car and again I have no proof that she did. But after the police talked to her, Becca got put into a psych ward for a week because apparently her apartment was filthy and she was drunk out of her mind 24/7 and a danger to herself. I have not heard anything from Becca after she left the psych ward. I don't know if she was diagnosed with something or if she's medicated now or what. I found out that she moved in with her dad who thank God lives in a different state. I look at her social media every so often to make sure she's not posting about me again and that she's nowhere around me. I haven't mentioned Nate much in this update because we're no longer together. He broke up with me after the windshield incident because he couldn't handle being constantly harassed by Becca and to be honest I don't think he ever forgave me for not taking his side immediately when everything started. It really hurt but I can't blame him. I tried to talk to him about fixing things between us after Becca was gone but he just wasn't interested. TLDR, Becca went crazy for real, Nate dumped me. Comments. Commenter 1, sounds like Becca, in a weird turn of event, did end up getting what she wanted, to break you guys up, but I can't blame your ex for breaking up either. Hope you're doing okay. Commenter 2, no one won unless the best friend intentionally tried to break them up and if that's the case then she did win and that's sad. Commenter 4, Nate definitely won. Commenter 5, I remember this one. You had to make a choice between believing your alcoholic BFF that accused your boyfriend of sexually assaulting her in a car while she was too drunk to remember anything, or believing your BF that said he didn't. Both of them had the same evidence, that evidence being, trust me bro. And you chose to believe the BFF, made Nate prove he didn't do it, which he eventually did prove. Not really surprised that Nate left. There's no way any relationship survives accusing your partner, or even believing your partner is capable of something like that. That man's entire character and integrity was called into question by someone he was about to propose to. I don't think there's any other way this could have ended. Commenter 6, but, Op also had this history with Becca, so in the past when she's been drunk, Becca's blacked out and started fights with me or other people. She'll say really out-of-line insulting things. She's kicked people out of our apartment because she didn't remember inviting them in. She's accused me of stealing clothes from her because I was wearing an outfit that looked like something that she also owned, that kind of thing. She's never hooked up with anyone that I was dating, but she's definitely hooked up with guys that she knew I was interested in. Armed with that, Becca has shown herself to lie/misremember when drunk. So, yeah, Nate should have been believed unless Becca presented more evidence.